This evening marks a monumental moment in my life. It's a celebration of 20 years here in New England, playing for the Patriots, playing for you.
What could possibly defeat Tom Brady? It wasn't an opponent's defense, not the toll of time, nor the crushing pressure of the Super Bowl. The only thing that could finally bring the GOAT of American football to his knees came from the most unexpected place. A secret announcement in December 2025 that his ex-wife, supermodel Gisele Bündchen, had remarried. Sitting alone in his multi-million-dollar mansion with every trophy imaginable, Tom Brady was forced to confront a brutal truth. In the most important game of his life, he had lost catastrophically and irrevocably. To truly understand that pain, and to find the seeds of his life's greatest failure, we have to go back in time to where it all began for Tom Brady, where the legend was born, and where the price of that legend was slowly being set. Biography, The Glory and Its Price. Tom Brady began his NFL career in 2000. Drafted by the New England Patriots in the 6th round, 199th overall, a number he would repeat in nearly every major speech of his life. 23 seasons later, he walked away from the game with 7 Super Bowl rings, 5 Super Bowl MVP trophies, and a legacy untouched by any player in the history of the sport. Off the field, he had a marriage the media dubbed perfect. His wife, Gisele Bündchen, was the world's highest-paid supermodel for nearly a decade. They had 2 children. They had homes in Boston, New York, Miami, and Costa Rica. They appeared on the covers of Vogue, Vanity Fair, and GQ. But behind those photos was a truth very few people saw. Tom Brady never truly put his family before football. He chose the field every Sunday. He chose the gym every morning. He chose another season when his wife was waiting for him to retire. And Gisele had warned him early on in a letter he kept in a drawer for years. The letter that wasn't a love letter. In a 2020 interview with Howard Stern, Tom Brady revealed something that not even his closest friends knew. In his desk drawer, there was a letter. It was handwritten by Gisele. She didn't email it, text it, or say it to his face. She chose to write it on paper the way people do when they want the other person to read it over and over again. Brady called it a wake-up call. In the letter, Gisele wrote about how she felt after more than a decade together. She said their marriage served only one person, and that person was Tom. She had given up the biggest modeling contracts of her career to follow him to Boston, then to Tampa. She had raised their 2 children almost single-handedly during the long seasons. She had put her own dreams aside for over 10 years. She ended the letter with a question. Did he ever plan on changing that? Tom read the letter. He admitted in the interview that it hit home. He said he still took it out to read from time to time, as a reminder. But this is where the story takes a sad turn, because keeping a letter isn't the same as changing because of it. In the years that followed, he kept playing. He kept going to the gym at 5 in the morning. He kept flying across the country to follow his team's schedule. And Gisele kept waiting a wait that had gone on long enough for her to start thinking about stopping. The letter didn't change Tom Brady, but it was the first sign of what was to come. The 40 days that broke everything. On February 1st, 2022, Tom Brady announced his retirement on Instagram. He wrote a long post, thanking his teammates, his fans, and especially his wife, the woman who has sacrificed so much so I could chase my dream. Gisele responded within hours. She posted a family photo with the caption, "Our next chapter starts here." She began planning a long family trip, something she had dreamed of for years. Her friends told the press it was the first time in a long time that Gisele truly seemed relieved. 40 days later, everything reversed. On March 13, 2022, Tom Brady posted a short, simple announcement. He was returning to the NFL. He wrote that he realized his place is still on the field. He wrote that he had unfinished business. There was a crucial detail the public didn't know at the time. According to multiple media sources that later came to light, Gisele found out her husband was unretiring through the media. She wasn't consulted. She wasn't told beforehand. She read the post at the same time as millions of other NFL fans. That same month, according to sources cited by Page Six and Us Weekly, Gisele began contacting a divorce lawyer. This was the true breaking point of the marriage. Not the next season, not the divorce announcement in October. It was the gap between Gisele posting "Our Next Chapter" and her reading the news that her husband was going back to the field. In those 40 days, a woman had prepared for a new life with her husband and 2 children. In those same 40 days, her husband had decided that the new life would have to wait one more season. Trust didn't break with the divorce. Trust broke in March 2022 when a social media post said what should have been said in their living room. The final season. Tom Brady's 2022 season began with a fracture the entire country could see. In August, he took an 11-day leave of absence from training camp. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers cited personal reasons. The sports media began asking questions. Reporters showed up at Brady's home. Every time he appeared, the cameras focused not on the football, but on the expression on his face. Brady and Gisele began living separately during this period. He stayed in Tampa. She took the 2 children to Miami. On the field, he was no longer the Tom Brady of years past. The Buccaneers opened the season with a 3-5 record, the worst start of his 23-year career. Every week, he walked onto the field with a question hanging over his head that no reporter dared ask directly. Was he thinking about the football or about the marriage collapsing on the outside? Later, looking back, Brady himself would admit that his personal and family issues had a heavy impact on his performance and his ability to play during his final season. On October 28, 2022, the divorce was finalized. Tom and Gisele posted announcements at almost the same time on Instagram. Both used the word amicably. Both asked for privacy. Both affirmed that their only priority now was their children. The entire legal process was completed in a single day. According to legal sources, they had an ironclad prenup, so dividing their assets took almost no time. Tom kept his. Gisele kept hers. But some things aren't covered in any agreement. 13 years, 2 children who would grow up with 2 homes, and a man once called a hero, now standing in a locker room after a game, not knowing who to call. The Vanity Fair confessional. In March 2023, Gisele Bündchen appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair. It was the first time she had spoken about the divorce, and she did it in a way almost no one predicted. She didn't accuse. She didn't dig up dirt. She didn't blame football. In a long interview with Rosa Sanchez, she said, "Sometimes you grow together. Sometimes you grow apart. When I was 26 years old and he was 29 years old, we met. We wanted a family. We wanted things together. As time goes by, we realize that we just wanted different things, and now we have a choice to make." Later, in an interview with Robin Roberts, she went a step further. She denied the rumors that she had given him an ultimatum. She rejected the media's simplistic narrative of football versus family. She said, "It takes years to happen. What they say is just one piece of a much larger puzzle." This was a critical statement. It told the public that the problem wasn't a single event, not the 40-day unretirement, not one specific fight. The problem was a 13-year process, during which 2 people slowly stopped walking in the same direction. She affirmed she still loved Tom in a certain way. She affirmed she wished him happiness. She affirmed she didn't regret their time together. But she also said something that was heartbreaking. The divorce wasn't a battle. It was the death of a dream. The dream of a family they both once believed would last a lifetime. This wasn't how a scorned wife talks about her ex-husband. This was how a mature woman tells a story she has thought through very carefully before speaking. New lives and the empty house. 3 years after the divorce, the 2 of them were headed in completely different directions. In February 2025, Gisele gave birth to her 3rd son. The father was Joaquim Valente, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor. She held no press conference. She sold no exclusive story to a magazine. The news was only confirmed when she reappeared on a runway in Brazil a few months after giving birth. In December 2025, Gisele married Joaquim in a private ceremony at their Florida home. The only guests were family and a few close friends. No official photos were released. Tom knew before the press did. A family source later confirmed to the media that he had been informed. But knowing in advance didn't make it any easier. During that same period, Tom's life went in a very different direction. He became a commentator for Fox Sports with a contract worth $375 million. He bought stakes in the NFL's Las Vegas Raiders and the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces. He invested in fashion, tech, and real estate. Every deal he signed was massive. His love life, on the other hand, went in no clear direction at all. He dated supermodel Irina Shayk, a relationship that ended quickly after a few months. He was then spotted at a party with Alex Earl, a young influencer. The press immediately debated their age gap. A source close to Brady told Rob Shooter that he values his privacy above all else and was uncomfortable with his girlfriend live streaming her daily life. On Instagram, he posted cryptic messages about good people, about loneliness, about lessons learned. Each post drew millions of likes. Each post left the public guessing what he was thinking. There's a phrase many commentators use to describe this moment. One person built a home, the other built an empire, and returned to an empty house. On Sundays during the season, as Tom Brady sat in the Fox broadcast booth commentating on a game, Gisele was in Florida, preparing dinner for her new family. This was a contrast that money couldn't change. The man who was there before the wedding. There was a question the public had been asking for years. When did Joaquim Valente enter Gisele's life? According to investigative reports from outlets like Page 6, People, and the Daily Mail, Joaquim had been in the Brady family's life since 2021. At that time, Gisele began taking jiu-jitsu lessons with him at an academy in Florida. She also brought her two children, Benjamin and Vivian, to train with him. This detail sparked a great deal of speculation, and it was a detail Gisele directly denied. In a 2024 interview with the New York Times, Gisele stated that her relationship with Joaquim only began after she and Tom had finalized their divorce. "He's a wonderful person," she said. "The kids love him." She also made it clear that the rumors of an affair were untrue and hurtful, and stressed that no public evidence has ever contradicted her claim. But the story of Joaquim reveals something else. While Tom was choosing to return to the field, Joaquim was choosing to teach two kids self-defense. While Tom was flying to Tampa, Joaquim was staying in Florida. This isn't a comparison to judge who was right or wrong. It's a comparison to understand why Gisele was able to heal so quickly. Beside her, there was already someone who chose to stay. Tom's story is more complicated. He had no one waiting for him. He had to rebuild his romantic life from scratch, nearing 50, under the glare of the media, with 4 relationships that didn't last more than a few months. This is the unfairness of life that no one dares to say out loud. When a marriage ends, the person who was prepared for it often moves on more easily than the person who gets swept up in the aftermath. The confession at 48. In January 2026, Tom Brady appeared in an interview with ML Football. The initial question wasn't about him. The reporter asked for his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers potentially retiring after the 2025 season. Brady answered, and then he turned the conversation to himself. "My last season was very hard," he said. "I was dealing with a personal issue, a family issue, and it was a challenge. It took a lot out of me, out of my ability to keep playing." He didn't say Gisele's name. He didn't say the word divorce. But everyone listening understood what he was talking about. This was a major moment in the story. Because in November 2022, when the press asked if he had any regrets about his decision to unretire, his answer was short. 0. Definitely not. 3 years later, at 48, he admitted the opposite for the first time. The divorce had affected his performance. His final season wasn't a normal season. It was a season torn apart by something happening off the field. In his 199 newsletter to fans, Brady wrote a sentence that many readers saved. "You won't be perfect. You'll fail. You'll let people down." He wrote it in the context of being a father. But when placed next to everything that had happened over the past 13 years, it carried a different weight. This was the man once called unbeatable. This was the man who had risen from losses and turned them into victories. And now, at 48, he was writing to his children that some failures can't be reversed. For 3 straight years, he had said no regrets. In one short statement in January 2026, he said the opposite. Not with an apology, not with tears, but with a very small admission that some things in his life hadn't gone the way he thought they would. Sometimes the strongest men admit their failures by saying very little. The rings and a home. Tom Brady, with his countless accolades and a legendary career empire, stands at the pinnacle of both football and the business world. Meanwhile, Gisele Bündchen is building a quiet home in Florida. In that home are 3 children and a new husband, where they eat dinner together, take the kids to school, and enjoy weekends by the beach or at the farmer's market. This is the end of the story. Not a tragic ending, not a happy ending, just a real one. There are games where victory comes at a price too high. There are choices where you only realize what you've chosen after it's gone. Tom Brady won everything that could be won on a football field, but he traded away something that money, fame, and rings can never buy back. The final question is for you. If you had to choose between the career of your dreams and the love of your life, what would you choose? And do you think Tom Brady made the right decision? Thank you for watching.